Now we're going to talk about the Kabbalistic perspective of the meaning of Hanukkah, and we are very happy to be joined now by Rabbi Avraham Trugman of Or Chadash. Hello and welcome.
Pleasure to be here.
And Hag Sameach to you.
You too.
So let's get to it. From your perspective, you've written a lot of books, you're an author. What is the deeper spiritual meaning of the celebration of Hanukkah?
Well, one of the ways we refer to Hanukkah is the holiday of the lights, because everyone knows that we light Hanukkah lights for 8 days, but we need to concentrate on the meaning of light. Light represents purity, spirituality, joy, and all the good things. And so the idea is to really focus and actually meditate on the candles of Hanukkah.
So you've also written a book about it, and I know you've also produced a lot of music. Tell us about the book and why we have 100 ways to meditate when we're lighting the candles.
Okay, so according to Kabbalah and the Hasidic tradition, one of the most auspicious times to meditate is watching the lights of Hanukkah. Everyone knows that light, a bonfire, it's mesmerizing. And so we light the lights, but what do most people do? They start giving gifts, they eat latkes, they play dreidel, and miss an opportunity to connect to the light of God and the light of the soul. One of the verses that we're told is really good to meditate on is Ner Hashem Nishmat Adam. The candle of God is the soul of man, woman. So that 4 words tells us a lot about the potential of what we could get to. So I wrote this book with 100 short, to-the-point meditations to give people material. What should I be thinking about when I see these lights? And it leads us into very, very deep experience of spirituality, closeness to God, closeness to our tradition, and closeness to our own soul.
Wow, beautiful. Now let's talk about the area. We're in the area of Modi'in. There's a lot of townships around here. I guess no coincidence that they're named after different characters from the story of the Maccabees. Tell us about that.
That's correct. I live in a place called Mevo Modi'im. Modi'im is the name of the ancient city where the Maccabees come from. And so in our whole area, actually, we've been there 45 years. We were the first township in the area. So we're called Mevo Modi'im. It means coming up to Modi'im. Now there's a huge city called Modi'in, about 80,000 people. There's also Modi'in Elite, the upper Modi'in, also known as Kiryat Sefer. But then we have Hashmonaim. That's the name of the family of the Maccabees. There is a place called Maccabim. Another one is called Mattityahu. He was the father of the 5 sons, including Yehuda Maccabee. And then there's Lapid, which means a flame. So
wow. All
of these Yeshuvim are named because we know for a fact that this area was the area of ancient Modi'in.
Wow. So tell us, in your opinion, the relevance of the Hanukkah story to the modern times that we're living in.
So that's a great question. So I want to give over an idea here. It's a classic question. When the Maccabees came into the temple had been desecrated, and they cleaned it up and they purified it. And as the story goes, they wanted to begin the service in the temple again. Part of the service is lighting the 7-branched menorah, the candelabrum. And they couldn't find any pure oil. And then they found 1 cruse of oil that had the seal of the high priest. And so everyone asked, though, they only had enough for 1 day. So why start the service and then run out of oil when you could wait a week or so and make new oil? So in modern times, we have a corresponding history that in the 40s, the United Nations, 1947, agreed that there should be a state of Israel. But it was put off until 1948. And during that time, there was chaos here. And the world was starting to rethink whether this was a good idea to partition Palestine. And even among the Jewish people, there was so much chaos and warfare. And then David Ben-Gurion, with the power of his personality and his beliefs, basically said, if the door is open now, we have to go through. There might not be another opportunity. And we all know the story that on the 5th of the month of Iyar, they announced the formation of the State of Israel against incredible odds. Incredible odds. But they did it because if the door is open, go through.
Right. So is it in your eyes the modern miracle of Hanukkah? Like, really, was that door a miracle?
Absolutely. So just to finish, so now we can understand, why did the Maccabees go ahead when they only had one cruse of oil? Is because the door is open now. Why wait? And we're told that drew down a miracle that it lasted for 8 days. But let's go to the blessing that we say when we light the lights. It's a second blessing, and we say, thanking God for the miracles, biyamim hahem bazman hazeh, in those days, at this time. So it's, the simple understanding means in those days, a long time ago, in this time of the year. But we interpret it a bit differently. In those days, those miracles that happened are also happening bazman hazeh, in this time. So yes, 1948, 1967, they were miracles in our day. And Hanukkah is really the time to appreciate that, to realize it. It's almost passé to talk about the miracle of modern Israel. But it's true that we have returned after 2,000 years, and the light is stronger than ever. This is the meaning of Hanukkah. Right. That it's happening now.
So in your opinion, with the time that we're in, I mean, I think, you know, a lot of texts and scholars are saying we are in the time of Messiah, in the time of Mashiach. What is the work that can be done now as we're entering this Hanukkah, people that may be watching, to really help usher in that kind of, you know, the collective force of bringing about more miracles and maybe, Bezrat Hashem, peace in this region?
That is the hope and the goal. So one of the things we do with the Hanukkah candles, most people are used to lighting the Hanukkah candles in the window, because when we were in exile, it was somewhat dangerous. We could even light it on a table inside. Nowadays, we can go outside and light the Hanukkah candles, but the idea is the idea of spreading light. The mission of the Jewish people, as told by the great prophet Isaiah, is to be a light unto the nations. Today, we could see that in a secular way, and what we need now is more of the spiritual.
Rabbi Trugman, thank you so much for that enlightening Hanukkah insight.
Okay, I want to bless everyone, as you said, with a holiday full of spiritual light that we take and spread to the world.
Thank you so much. Such a pleasure. And don't go anywhere, because we're going to be back with more of our special Hanukkah on location episode right after the break.